Yo, what's up? Welcome, everyone. It is Thursday night. Logan alongside Lou. We've got Danny popping in here in just 1 second. I think his video is finally coming on board. Looks like he's got a fresh cut, maybe a not so stable internet connection. Hello, friends. How are you doing, Lou? Danny, can you hear us?
We've gone through this before, this unstable internet connection life.
How are you guys doing? All right?
I can hear you guys.
We're good.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Cool. Well, we're here tonight to talk about everything and anything as it pertains to NFTs. But the core focus, though, was chatting a little bit about this last week and a half, and a resurgence, NFT summer in midst of winter, at least for those of us on the East Coast. So we're going to be chatting about that. We'll, of course, be taking your questions if you have them. And then last but not least, Lou and I, right before the stream, we were taking a look. We're kind of actively monitoring the Sotheby's auction. I know this is maybe trippy to show video in video, so probably won't do this throughout the course of the show. But we're actively monitoring it. Of course, Constitution DAO. I don't know. Did either of you guys contribute?
I didn't. We talked about it on Monday. I didn't buy any. Did you, Danny? You did? Or just that we talked about it?
But
No, he did not.
I've been following it very closely since we talked about it. We broke it on our first stream. I don't know when that was, but we talked about it, and I was like, "Yo, have you heard of it?" And you were like, "Yeah, kind of." And now it's blown up to this level. What have they raised? $25 million?
$45 million. Yeah. So the initial, it's pretty silly here. I am going to bring in the screen. For folks who don't know, Constitution DAO, essentially DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, right? Big thing in Web3 right now, but it's people pooling their resources without one, kind of clear leader for a certain purpose. And in this instance, pooling resources to potentially buy a copy of the United States Constitution. So Sotheby's is doing this auction right now. The official estimate, or Sotheby's estimate on this lot, right? One of the copies of the original U.S. Constitution was 15 to 20 million. That was the original estimate. So that was Constitution DAO's first. Be right back buying the Constitution. It looks like it's come down here, but that was their first. Hey, this is our goal, $20 million. They kept upping it, expecting how auctions work, right? People bid higher than your 20 million. And when you tell people that you're going to bid 20 million, they know, right? And you could be priced out at 21 million.
Yeah. That was what we were talking about on Monday, is what if they come up with $20 million and some just whale comes in with $25 million bid? Then what? Do they come back and ask people for more money? So it is nice to see that they got a little extra padding on there.
A little, yeah. They doubled their initial expectations and doubled that lot estimate as well, right? $45 million is pretty crazy. It's a staggering amount of money raised in a week to buy a piece of the U.S. Constitution. There's I'm not going to get into some of the FUD behind this about right. So you're not actually getting fractional ownership of the Constitution. I don't believe. I think there's a pretty clear indication on the site. So it's not quite what it probably could have been, but nevertheless, it is a really unique experiment in showcasing of Web3 things, right? A bunch of people kind of decentralizing, not centralizing, but a decentralized organization, or whatever you want to call it, coming together and buying something. Now, it's very, very silly that $45 million was raised for the Constitution when we could raise money for lots of causes that would be much more beneficial. Nevertheless, though, a really cool kind of experiment that we've seen in the last week. So we'll be monitoring that. That was kind of a long segue into what we're going to be talking about tonight. Lou is rocking a pseudo. He likes to think it's a Doodles hat. I think maybe that's where we can.
In honor of the Doodles, I got, my pastel hat here.
Yeah.
So they made a big run this week.
Yeah, that's
specifically yesterday.
Yeah, we should hop right into that. So the question on the table for this particular show was, is the NFT bull market back on? So Lou, I'll start with you.
Yeah.
Yes or no, is the NFT bull market back on? And why? Why do you think so?
Bored Ape trickle down. They Bored Ape started it. People got back in. They got excited. They heard someone like Jimmy Fallon with 50 million followers. They're getting exposure to NFTs. Then a couple of these other projects, blue chips, started seeing a little more volume, and it just kind of followed from there. I think people just are more confident again.
Yeah. The confidence certainly helps. So everybody loves when the number goes up. Have you guys seen the some of the we're talking about FUD? Have you seen some of the FUD around Fallon and Post Malone's apes like being funded by MoonPay? You guys see that?
Yeah. So the way that it's like a tough topic, but the way that I saw it was it's promoting MoonPay. You don't know how much of this was like MoonPay paid them to buy the ape, or I'm not sure. Is there specifics on that? Like, did MoonPay specifically like buy it for them and then they bought it off of MoonPay, or is MoonPay just like saying we're gonna buy a bunch of apes, and if you buy into our website, then you can have access to the apes that we bought? I'm not exactly sure.
So I think what I had seen, and somebody from the chat or something can correct us, but what I had seen was that MoonPay had basically sent ETH to the wallets from Post Malone and Jimmy Fallon that ended up purchasing the apes. So I think the suspicion is that, of course, MoonPay funded it, not necessarily paid the other people, right, but funded the purchase at least, which is a little inauthentic, at least in terms of how it was presented, right? Because Jimmy Fallon just tweeting that he bought the ape, there was no like ad. I'm not sure the right way to do this, or that he needed to do that. But of course, the blockchains everything's transparent, so it's pretty easy for people to figure out what's gone on here. I don't think it's deterred too much. Like, we've seen a little bit of a slowdown, but also they ran like 18 ETH, right? It's been wild. Danny, do you have a take there? I don't know if you had seen that. Do we have them?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy on Jimmy Fallon, MoonPay. And I think that, am I cutting out here?
I think you're just really lagged, man.
Good. He might have.
Did we lose him?
Do you think it's bad to have advertisements in NFTs? I guess that's how I would frame it. Doesn't this happen in other industries?
Yeah. No, I know.
To
it's actually a really unique thing. Like, we work for a business in NFTs, right? And like, I think we want to, for those of you out there with big followings and or like reputable brands building reputable content or podcasts, like, I think we want to be able to align with those folks. And that doesn't necessarily mean avoiding advertisement, right? You're absolutely right, Lou. I mean, like, it exists naturally. It's a way of promoting a brand, getting it in front of more people. It doesn't mean it's malicious in any way or bad intentioned either.
Yeah.
So,
because like the way I heard someone describe it was, think about NASCAR, think about golfers where they get paid to wear a shirt or have their car sport a logo. And is it that much different than, say, Nike sponsoring Tiger Woods and then he wears their clothing, he uses their clubs, things like that? Like, is it that much different from that? And I think from that angle makes it sound a little better. I'm not sure how I really feel about it in general, because as we know, there's a lot of these sort of more scams that are involved in the crypto world. So I think that's how everybody just immediately takes it,
Yeah. That's the large concern. The concern is the intention behind it, right? Is Jimmy Fallon buying this because he's receiving like a notable payday and he actually has no intention of participating or no intention of continuing to promote, whatever? He brought people on the Tonight Show. Yeah. So all those things are positives. I think it comes down to intentions, and intentions are difficult to be able to surmise. And it's also unfair for people to naturally assume the intentions. Right. So anyway, we got a note here. Another point from this big bull run. We're talking about doodles, and I know we'll get into all these projects probably more specifically as we move throughout the show. But question about buying into Smiles, Danny, you're holding Smiles. You bought Smiles. We gave away 20 Smiles whitelist spots on this very stream, which is now turned into approximately what, like 20 ETH, 15 ETH for folks on the other end.
Wow.
Yeah, what's the floor now?
Yeah, let me pull in.
What's the floor now? It's what, 0.75, something like that.
Let me see here. And of course, this does update every 0.79. This updates about every 15 minutes, depending upon how often OpenSea is updating as well. We're sort of at their mercy on some things like that. LuckyTrader.com /NFT/project-rankings, or just the rankings tab up here at the top. 0.79, but up 182% over the last week. It was, correct me if I'm wrong, 0.1 to mint. Is that correct? And actually, the public mint, right, there are 4 phases for Smileverse. The public mint wasn't even really like a gas war, was it? Like, it was pretty in and out. You could get in, and if you were, attached to the project, or you enjoyed the art, or you were, a fan of Wahid Zai, the artist, then you had your opportunity to get it. And those who have done so have been rewarded, quite handsomely, at least in a week's time. Danny, how are you feeling about your Smiles? What's your play there if you're able to give it up? Are you long-term hodling Smiles? What's the deal?
I listened to a Twitter space with Wahid yesterday, and I was really struck by his story, how he's able to communicate his story, how he wants to bring the physical into the digital. A lot of talk is about how we're all going to enter this metaverse and we're just going to be here in the metaverse forever, I think. And so Wahid has said on this Twitter Spaces yesterday, he was like, listen, like, I want to bring the physical. I want to take the digital, but I want to make sure the physical is still intact. So I think he's got some plans to do physical collectibles, things like that. So it's really exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing what his future plans are for Smilesverse.
Lou, do you have Smiles?
I'm into a couple, but I sold them. I think they're kind of cool, the 3D side of it.
Yeah.
The ones that I had, I didn't particularly like, so I was planning on rebuying. Just like there's a lot of them that, and this happens with projects like this, where I think when there's humans in there, sometimes it like doesn't look right, because like a human wouldn't wear like those pants with that shirt and a mask, and like mine were just a little busier. So I was planning on like rebuying ones that I liked how they looked and wanted to sort of like pick it. That's an issue I have when these reveals happen, is you kind of end up with what you get. But I had one that had that gas mask, and I just didn't really like the look of it.
Yeah.
So I put it up for sale, and it went because they just went on that crazy run yesterday.
Yeah. I guess that's not under. Oh, here it is. So you're talking about gas masks. I understand that.
Yeah.
Like, I've thought about that as it pertains to other profile picture projects, right? Like, people call it like clean, right? Meaning like simple, and also they could be referring to like what are the traits, right? Like, does it have a cigarette that's maybe not clean, right? Things like that. I totally understand
like that third one in there.
Yeah. It's like it has a ton of stuff happening. I think this is a really good segue, though. I think these are interesting and would be really cool as like little, we talked about Funko Pops or Funky Pops, whatever they're called, a few streams ago. Like, this would be a cool little thing to have on your desk, I think.
Yeah.
Especially if you were able to like get one that you really enjoyed and liked. But I posted this tweet this morning. I unfortunately do not own doodles. I really wish I did, despite the color palette. I tried to mint doodles. I did not mint.
Yeah. They're right up your alley.
They are, man. They really are right up my alley. But I posted this tweet earlier today, and I would love to get feedback from other people, yourself and Danny included. After, I've seen, of course, thousands of NFT assets at this point. All the NFT profile picture projects, I've seen them. I've looked at them. Maybe I've written about them or considered buying them. I have not ever felt probably as strongly in terms of like just really liking a trait as I have with the rainbow puke trait on the Doodles. So of course, Doodles collection that launched not even a month ago, has done fantastically well in the last week. We're showing a floor price here, and of course, this could be a little bit lag based on OpenSea, but about 3.8. And for a while, right, it was sitting in the ones, the 1.5, right, and it's just been an amazing run up here in the last. Where is Rainbow Puke? Is it's in face? Yeah. It's been an amazing run up here, though, recently. Rainbow Puke floor, 9.99 Ethereum, only 118 assets. Look at that Rainbow Puke, man. Tell me there's a better trait in all of NFTs than Rainbow Puke.
I mean,
why are you so attracted to them?
The colors.
Color scheme.
You mean the Rainbow Puke in particular?
I think it's, yeah.
I mean,
like pickle one's kind of funny.
Yeah, the Rainbow Puke in particular, I just think it's a unique take, and in the colors as well. Like, it seems like something that we're not, in terms of traits. Lou's talked about this before. It's like, in terms of traits, if you want certain traits to be desired, you do like the stupid laser beam eyes, right? You do beanie, you do 3D glasses, you do hoodie, and like those things are all just extensions of punks, which people have naturally, latched onto, and I think that's okay. And we've seen other projects that have, introduced their own types of traits. And I'm sure there's ones that I'm just like completely missing that would be, definitely very unique trait additions. But the Rainbow Puke one,
it's a doodle.
Yeah, it's a doodle. Exactly right. Exactly right. And I can't think of too many other collections right now where if you saw one trait, you saw one trait. Lou, we were playing this game earlier today, beanie or not beanie. Tweets from people that was it beanie tweeting or not, right? Like, and it's really difficult. You can't tell sometimes. But in terms of profile picture projects, it would be the same thing almost, right? You could like show a trait and you might not know which collection it belonged to. But what's another collection outside of Rainbow Puke traits? Like, what's another example of a spot where there's a trait that it belongs to that collection? Can you think of one? Like outside of like fur wouldn't count, right? Because like that might tell you that it's like a Bored Ape, right? If you saw the trippy fur or something. I can't off the top of my head think of another example of something where there is
not stylistic. Well, I was just thinking the smiles all have that skateboard.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a little different, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't give a super clear direction here, so it's probably unfair to bucket in any of these, really, really strictly. But yeah, you do have this skateboard. Do they all have a skateboard? They all have a skateboard, don't they?
Pretty sure.
Yeah, so that's another thing where like I don't know that I would count that because then it's a strong like attachment to that particular brand. But it's almost too easy, right?
Trying to think, because like a lot of them it's more like stylistic. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of with the smiles. It's like, well, the style of what that art looks like.
Yeah. Skateboard is actually a trait, so they must all have they must all
don't.
have them.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe not. Well, there's 8,000, so I'm just doing some quick math. 35, 45, 62. Yeah, they all have them. So there's different types of skateboards, though. That's a really, really interesting thing. I'm going to flip back here real quick. Did this Constitution go? Has anybody seen
I have a thought of one. What about like in the groupies? They have the background, the tripping trait. I don't know. Would that be similar?
I think so. I think I would count that. Groupies, and of course, all these assets, if folks didn't already know, if you're tuning in, you've never seen a Lucky Trader show before, you've never visited luckytrader.com, all of these assets that we're kind of viewing via the Asset Explorer at luckytrader.com. Pulling up the groupies for Lou. Take a look at these trippy traits, right? These icons. These are the icons. Actually, my friend minted this one. Pretty lucky.
The black and white one?
Yeah, this last one here, this icon.
That's cool.
Yeah. Very lucky. Very lucky minter. I am not. This is that trippy background you're talking about, right? It's got a little bit of
with the faces.
Yeah.
And that's something like new, and they're the only ones that really have something like that. It's its own trait. A little different because it's closer to like having a fur versus not, but the ones that have that are priced higher.
Groupies surprisingly have not really run this week. We're talking about bull market, not bull market. You know, what in your view, this goes for either one of you, whoever wants to pipe up first. I think Danny's on a little bit of a lag. So what in your view, like, allows a project to run when other projects are running? Like, do you think the market right now is doing a better job of identifying good projects? And like, is that as a result of good teams, you know, or what, you know, what's the impetus behind a project running in this new bull market, if you suggest that maybe?
Yeah.
Lou?
It seems like it's blue chips right now. So maybe like groupies aren't considered that tier yet.
Is it okay? So blue chips. How are you fitting doodles in there then? Like, are you already identifying?
I think people
doodles?
are identifying it as a blue chip because of the team, and I think the art's always given me that like cool cat vibe. So it's like a cheaper version of that right now. Because I don't know, have toads ran in this?
Not really. I mean, a little bit, but not like. I mean, I think almost all the. I mean, I guess 30% ish in the last week. A lot of the capital has been concentrated in Bored Ape Yacht Club like ecosystem, right? BAYC and or Mutant Apes as well, and Doodles, man.
And then Smiles.
And then Smiles as well. So like, if we look at the volume over the course of the last week, Bored Apes, Mutant Apes, Punks, of course, right? They don't count. Doodles, Cool Cats, Cryptodes, Smiles, Cyberkongs. I mean, that's it's even surprising to me that some of these other, like, you know, Creature World's like a pretty notable collection, but didn't get like
moving a little bit,
but not anywhere near as much as some of these others have, which is always going to be the case, unfortunately, right? But yeah, it's been a really
VFence been doing?
not
that's kind of like its own thing. 8.5, so basically flat.
Like, Danny, what's the scoop on VFriends nowadays? Our resident VFriend holder. Books are coming. Have your books been delivered yet?
We got books on the way, and we've gotten some hints at what the 1.5 project's going to be. He's referring to the books as 1.5, VFriends 1.5, and I think that it's going to be some sort of game, and I don't know what that game is going to entail, but it's exciting because it's going to bring a lot of new people into the VFriends ecosystem, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Lou, did you buy books? I can't remember if I asked you.
I have some books coming at some point. I haven't gotten them yet, but I've seen people post pictures of receiving their books already.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I just saw. Sorry to interrupt. I just saw a tweet from Deez that says the Constitution auction is going live next. So we'll have some news on that sometime shortly here. What do you think, man? I think so. We've talked about like bull run impetus, Bored Ape Yacht Club, Jimmy Fallon stuff, right? Like potentially being a catalyst for some of these things. I think this Constitution DAO, if they win the Constitution tonight, could be another, like, I don't know, a little bit of an unlock. I don't know why. This is completely gut. Like, I have nothing really to back this up. But it feels like if the Constitution DAO thing, they win the Constitution, it just feels like a massive victory for Web3, right? And whether that sets off some like unbridled euphoria or what have you, I don't know. We'll see. One of the things we should talk about in terms of bull market, I hate bringing up the T word, taxes, but Are you worried at all, Lou, about what happens as we approach year end? Like people dumping, like I've started taking some losses on things, right? Are you worried at all about that happening?
Just the idea that people are trying to sell to avoid taxes.
Well, yeah, I mean taking losses on projects, dropping floors to reduce capital gains. Any concerns there? Like I feel like nobody really knows, of course, because nobody even knows what to do with the tax thing. Despite there being resources, some resources starting out there. We're going to have some resources at luckytrader.com as well as we approach. Don't want to scare too many people too early yet, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's something that has been a topic people have been talking about a lot more recently in general, because, we're about 6 weeks away from the end of the year. And at that point, like, we still have a few months before we have to like figure out what we're doing with taxes and like the rules around it. But I think in general, people understand, or the way people currently are thinking is it's going to be like net. A lot of people are going to look at the net profit idea. So if they're already thinking that way, I could see them trying to sell at lower prices now. There's a back and forth on if you can do wash sales and things like that. But I definitely think it's something to keep in mind, because other people are probably thinking of it right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm actively thinking about it. That's for sure. I'm going to do my best, of course. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. But we'll see. We've got Danny, for those who come for Danny Miranda, of which many of you may, we have Danny hopping in here in a second as he tries a connection fix, and also going to be monitoring the Constitution DAO stuff, which I think is going to happen here shortly. So we talked about doodles. We talked about smiles. Is there anything else in this last week, right, of what feels like summer-ish activity in terms of NFTs? Anything else that surprised you project-wise, Lou, that whoa, like a resurgence of something that seemed dead, or just a project that you thought maybe was capped somewhere? Anything from this last week that surprised you?
Kind of going off of your other point, it's somewhat weird, maybe interesting is a better word, as to why, like you said, doodles ran up to 4 ETH, but things like World of Women and Creature World and Mechaverse, these ones that already existed a couple months ago, didn't run. So why are these having their initial push in the doodles and the smiles, the more recent stuff? And this kind of goes back to something that I've thought about before, where are these somewhat older projects? Do they just get forgotten if they don't make a run up?
Yeah.
Like Fluff World's on there too, right? Yeah. So people are going to what's the hot new item. And I don't know. Do you think people not forget that these other items are in their wallet, but why are those other ones still above 2? People aren't trying to sell off of those to buy into doodles. So that's the part that's a little weird to me. I think kind of like what Chris was saying there is it comes from there's new people and they're attaching themselves to the first project, which is Smiles or Doodles. Doodles was their first big gas war or something like that. And so I think that might be part of it. Do you think that's why we see it with the more recent stuff, and then other people, they just have their bags already packed, so to speak, and they're just waiting on Creatures or Women to hit 5 Ethereum before they're willing to sell, and they've just been sitting at it, looking at it, say 2 for long enough that they're not trying to get out?
I think this is it's exactly what Chris said. I think, shiny new thing, right? It's going to be really difficult it's so easy to build new projects, right? It's going to be really difficult to maintain consumer mind share. And the other thing is, Tom Bilyeu was talking about this the other day too, right? three elements or more needed for an NFT project to succeed. Tom said this on the show. We've got a clip of it that we should reshare as well. But basically, like, you don't only need to have good art and, like, only need to do XYZ, which is what a lot of these projects in the very beginning, like, I'm not suggesting that World of Women is only doing that, right? Or that Creature World is only doing that. I don't think that's the case. But earlier this year, you may have only needed to do one of those three things that Tom talked about. And now, to stay relevant, you've got to do some marketing. You've got to provide some value to your holders. You have to do something. You have to communicate effectively about your roadmap and your vision. You have to execute on it. And so there's like 8, 10, 15 projects that in the summer would have, like, if this happened during the summer, would have run crazily, right? Because they had held the mind share of folks. And now you have other projects coming in that have stolen the mind share because of the recency bias. Right. And I don't even know, like, do we need to hold, we're not holding Smiles or Doodles to the fire right now about execution or anything because they are so new. But it's and it's unfair. I think that's what you're saying, Lou, but like, it's a little unfair to those other projects that, like, we kind of are. It's like, well, if you want to run, you've got to show me something. You know what I mean? Because you've just been sitting there for months. I don't know. I think it's a really interesting thing. I think potentially, like, this is maybe this is an alpha alert. We got to get like an alpha alert button to show during the streams. Like, maybe this is an alpha alert, but like, I think during times like this, when those projects don't run, like, might be a unique, like, a good chance to buy them. I mean, all those other, you have to consider all the other stuff. It's like, just like evaluating any other project. But if you've done your analysis, like, dude, Creature World, Danny Cole's like putting his life behind this thing, right? Did you see the video that just came out? There's like a Creature World video. Like, he was just on Spaces with Coinbase. Coinbase is going to support them, which caused a little spike. I think Coinbase will eventually support everything. So I think that's maybe more of a sell the news event. Regardless, this dude is like wholly invested in this thing, has already shown some pretty ambitious plans. Like, I was at the OpenSea Creature World party while you guys hosted the show. That's one that, if NFTs are going to run, why would that one not run? You know what I mean?
Logie, do you have any insight onto why Danny Cole was crying?
Danny Cole was crying?
Yeah.
I actually didn't listen to the Spaces. Jason Bales told me a little bit about the Spaces with him and Coinbase.
I'm not sure. He ran a Spaces and he tweeted about crying, and a couple of times, and I was curious what that was about. He's like, crying is not always a bad thing. And I was just like, that's very interesting. He's talking very openly about that. Maybe he cried on a Spaces. I'm not sure, but it was enough to make me say, what is that all about?
I don't actually know. Maybe somebody in the audience might know, but I don't know, unfortunately. I was unable to listen into the stream. So nevertheless, I mean,
at least we fixed the lag, though.
We fixed the lag. We're good. I mean, we're good, man. We're coming in good right now. But that's a potential alpha alert, I think. Like, I don't necessarily want to characterize too many projects to put in buckets. Of course, nothing here financial advice, but like, I would say, Lou, you mentioned World of Women, right? Creature World. Gotta say Subducks. I have to say it. Sorry. Like, I'm obligated.
Yeah,
to say
that's what I was looking at too.
But like, those are projects that have support, fostered community, flourished in the initial bull run, and they're not the shiny thing, right?
Yeah, but I think part of it has to do with just like ETH is 5K right now. Well, not now. Now it's back under 4. But like when people hopped in, a week or two ago, and that's 10K to spend on one item, and they're just hopping into this new thing. So I think for new people, it's hard for them to hop into that. But when it's the Smiles, you could buy 2 or 3 for $1,000, and I think that might be part of it as well. And Doodles, I saw a tweet that it was something like Doodles came out during a bear market, so this is its first time that it's able to run. So maybe that's why those are specifically the 2 that did. It's like Doodles should have done this already, but it was during a downtime. Yeah, see, like I think it's more likely for new people to want to buy into a small, cool project that's newer because it's an easier entry point versus these other ones that have been sitting at 2 Ethereum while Ethereum booms.
And you just pointed out like an economic thing here as well for folks that came in with a lack of liquidity and have now just generated it as a result of Smiles going from 0.1 to 5 or 0.1 to 1 or Doodles going from 0.1 to 3, 4, almost 4, right? And now you have some people that might have minted a few and now have sold off and now have 4 ETH to use. And then they can go back and look at what Chris was just saying here, blue chips or presumed blue chips, right? Like Subducks or World of Women or Creature World. So yeah, in my opinion, like, I mean, I know we're connecting a lot of dots there, right? That perhaps should not necessarily be connected, but I think that's an interesting thing to like think about is, and maybe we get some hands on the data here, wrap Lambert into doing something really great for us. But like, gather some data about projects that, with a sustained floor that didn't move during massive market moves and then their performance afterwards, whatever.
Can I ask a question here?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm curious, everyone's talking about Bored Ape right now and the hype that it's causing. And if you're going to talk about blue chips, it might be the number 1 or number 2 blue chip behind CryptoPunks. What's the bear case from your guys' perspective on Bored Ape Yacht Club?
Lou, do you want to take it first?
The hard part for me to say like a bear case in it is it just seems like it's the strongest bull case right now.
Of course. That's why it's important to, I think, in moments like this, when it seems so obvious to us three that this is a stock that's going to continue to rise and continue to grow, and they have all the momentum, all the hype. It makes me say, okay, everyone is thinking this, but what would be true? Yeah. What would have to be true for this to occur? I think it's a useful scenario to play through and think about.
No, it is. It is.
I think for a bear case, there's a couple. And this is more my bear case as to people are saying, when are apes going to flip punks? And maybe this is more so answering that question. But there's been a couple of things in threads that I'm part of. One, earlier today, it said that there's only 70 apes until a 60 ETH floor. And then another person's like, oh, I could see it hitting 100 ETH. And that's going along your point where this is just such in everyone's head right now that it's bull. Like, it's the winner. But at the end of the day, how can you find, I think the number was around 800 until 100 ETH floor for Bored Apes that I was looking at earlier. And I was like, how many people out there are willing to spend $200,000 to $500,000 on this? Is there 800 buyers of that? And so that's where, to me, the CryptoPunk people were people more likely to already have the Ethereum to spend 100 or 80 Ethereum because they got into crypto early enough. How is someone, even like a Jimmy Fallon who hops in, right? Who he spends a couple $100,000. He's not buying 5 punks for $1 million. He's just buying 1. So I think at this point, you need to have like 500 to 800 people willing to spend that many hundreds of thousands of dollars for it to actually beat the punk. So I think if they level out for a while, because there's not that many more buyers at this now $200,000, $300,000 level, I think that's sort of the bear case in my mind. Is there's a lot of people that bought in at less than 5 Ethereum, and once they see it now around 50 Ethereum, the likelihood of them now wanting to post it because that's life-changing money, I think, goes up. And that's where you could see the pressure maybe come back down.
Yeah. I'm going to get to my bear case, Danny, but I do want to bring in Constitution DAO real quick. The bid is at 38 million already. I don't know which. So there's 2 people on the phone here. There's this woman, and then there's a gentleman as well, both based in New York. So one of them would be my guess. One of them is definitely a Constitution DAO. I'm not listening, so if somebody's listening to it and can let us know, so that you got the woman on the left and the gentleman on the right, number 410. They're kind of representing whatever parties bidding against each other. 38 million, the current bid. The Constitution DAO, I believe, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe raised 45 million, in excess of 45 million. So we should still be in range. It's at 39 million now, current bid. Should still be in range. Lou was talking about how many people are willing to spend 200,000 on a Bored Ape, and we got people spending 39 million collectively. 39 million on the copy of the U.S. Constitution. So
I think that happened there was like a punk lot.
Yeah.
I don't know it. There was like a dozen of them or something.
With an alien too.
One of them was the alien. Yeah. And there wasn't one person who is trying to buy them. It's a lot of these times it's a group of investors pulling funds together, and they each get 20%.
Yep.
15% or whatever.
Yep.
So I think that's going to make headline news for tomorrow, no matter what it ends at.
Yeah, exactly. We're up to 40 million now. I'm going to keep flipping back and forth. I think we're like probably coming down to the wire, because if it is Constitution DAO, they've only got like 45 million to work with. And it would soon after just go to whoever the next person is bidding, or group of investors, as Lou mentioned. Danny, you're asking bear case for BAYC. I have a take that's a little bit different than Lou's, though I like totally understand and respect that there are not enough people right now to facilitate enough purchases to continue bull forever, right? My bear case is actually more on the executional side, which is maybe a little bit of an unfair like default answer, right? Like I'm not giving a hot take here, but what we've seen from Yuga Labs and Bored Ape Yacht Club has been like continued execution for a really long time. And we've also seen it during a period of time where numbers do only go up. And we've yet to really see a sustained bear market. And maybe we won't ever really see, I'm sure we will, but like maybe we won't ever really see like drastic year-long droughts in NFTs like we have with like other traditional forms of investments, whatever it means. Whatever, I don't even need to speculate on that. But there's going to be a point in time where the number is not going to continue to go up, and it's going to be for more than 2 weeks. And there's going to be, during that time, key executional or inflection points on the roadmap, like the game that they've teased, right? They just released some stuff about an MAYC versus BAYC game competition, whatever. If those things don't live up to the hype that has been sustained right now, like Jimmy Fallon bought a punk, Jimmy Fallon bought an ape, everything good ape, everything ape is good, right? If the game sucks or something, or it's exploited, or there's a contract malfunction, like there's so many risks, right? If anything like that happens, I still think that the executional risk is quite strong.
I don't know
they
if
have
I
an
agree
ambitious
with that,
roadmap.
I think we're beyond that with them specifically.
The only reason I say not is because they've taken like not the reason. I shouldn't say this is a sole reason behind their rise, right? But like one of the big things that people talk about in terms of bull case for Yuga Labs and BAYC is the activity behind things, right? So like punks are just punks. Larva Labs just, like they've got the provenance. They sit on that historical artifact type thing. BAYC is dug in to the we're going to do stuff thing now, right? And I don't know that you can rest on your laurels if you're Yuga Labs now. Like maybe Lou, you could totally be right. Like maybe the brand and the community is strong enough now that they could like basically shut down after this roadmap and be totally fine, perhaps. But they've kind of actively built themselves as the complete opposite of punks in that way, where they're like, we are going to do stuff. And so now you've got to actually do it, and you've got to do it well.
I don't know, because you think like Tyrese Halliburton is going to all these ape events and playing that game. Like I think most of the people that have bought into it aren't buying into it to like play the game that's involved or go to all the events.
But they could still do something that is poor and that we can't possibly expect, and people could be upset at that. And so I think Loki's point is very well taken.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing I would say there, Lou, is like, I'm not expecting them to necessarily play the game, but people are expecting that the games and stuff are going to be catalysts to number going up. And we're just talking about bear case from right now, right? if those games aren't good, it's unlikely that the numbers, well, I shouldn't say that. It's not necessarily unlikely that the numbers won't go up, but that is like a clear reason why it may not go up, right?
Yeah.
Because people have baked in that these things are going to happen. And if they don't happen the way that people are expecting them to, you, one, potentially remove an impetus to bringing in new buyers if the game sucks, right? Because who's going to pay 50 ETH just for the asset? Well, maybe people will. If you think that Yuga Labs and BYC is strong enough now to just be, which it probably is to some degree, right? Then you don't care. But if you're joining in because of the activity level of Yuga Labs, which I think a lot of people potentially are, then you need them to execute and to execute appropriately. That's just my take there.
On that point, I feel like maybe they should drive the utility side, like in that sense, towards the mutants and the kennel dogs who are buying in at a lower price point. Because I think the people buying a Bored Ape right now are just like a different type of investor who is willing to spend 200K because they're trying to make that into $1 million.
I think you're right. I think you're 100% right. That would be my play, I think. And I'm not sure I would answer that until I just heard you say this now, and had this conversation. That would totally be my play. And it's a protection against the initial brand as well, right? It's like, not necessarily a full hedge, but you're sort of like, okay, we're going to test and we're going to push the needle over here with it's like, it's like using like Rinkeby for ETH, right? It's like, we're going to do all this crazy stuff over here so that it doesn't mess with the main net, right? Or whatever. This happens everywhere in Web3. Like, we're going to do this stuff in and traditional, right? We're going to do this weird stuff, crazy stuff in production, because if it F's up or breaks, it doesn't hurt our real environment. And I think that's really strong. If Yuga Labs is listening, sorry, Lou works for Lucky Trader, but it's a point that you should maybe be considering. I'm curious, like,
let's clip it.
Yeah, we should clip it and send it to him. Clip it and send it to Yuga Labs, of course. But Lou cannot leave. Not at least not until you finish your Solana NFT article, which is coming on Monday. For those who are interested in Solana NFTs, we're gonna have a little bit of a primer coming from Lou. What I was gonna say there is, like, every project, right? So Bored Apes, whether they say it or not, Bored Apes copied Punks, right? Okay, yeah. Every project since has copied Bored Apes. It's just whatever, nature of the beast. Lou, I think if we get that clip out into the wild, even if Bored Apes don't do it, hell, maybe Frankie Nines will do that with King Frogs. I think he's already kind of doing that actually with King Frogs. Like King Frogs, right? You can like level those up. You can get thick boys. So I think he's kind of doing that. But like other projects that are doing like the companion thing, try it with your companions. Try the weird stuff with your companions. Use them as your test net. This is great. We just unlocked the code.
That's kind of been always my thing with the companions is it's like, well, why wouldn't I want the original thing? Because it seems like they keep giving you and who did that recently? The Timeless one where they're giving stuff to the Treeverse owners and the NFT owners.
Right.
And it's like different levels. And I think that's the way to do it is in this case, if you're only giving stuff to Mutant Ape owners, then the Bored Ape owners might get mad. They're like, we have an asset that's worth more money. Why aren't we getting the cooler version of that? So I think there's got to be some sort of balance with it too.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. And we'll see, like, I mean, not to spend so much time on Bored Apes, but I think it's been great conversation. We'll see what happens. Like I said, they have a really ambitious roadmap. They're like in a DAO, basically. They hinted at DAO in their roadmap 2.0. There's going to be tokens in 2022. So those could be things where like maybe you still do the weird stuff on mutants, right? But as a result, like the original holders get X many more tokens or receive tokens for like, Kongs and everything, like just for holding, you get tokens or whatever the case may be. We'll see. Nobody has a real guess there. Were you say something, Lou?
Yeah, there's breaking news on the
oh my gosh, did they get it?
Yeah, it looks like 41 million
to Constitution DAO.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did it, Mom.
That's a win for Web3 for sure.
Catalyst. Watch the market. We're gonna talk about it tomorrow. I have my daily news video up in the morning. We have a show at 11 a.m. tomorrow to take a look. So we'll be talking about this again as we have more information about everything. We'll be monitoring. Catalyst, bull market. Is the bull market back on? That was the question for this show. Yes. Lou said yes. Danny, you were in and out. What do you think? Yes?
I say yes. I mean, you feel the energy. You feel the excitement. People are talking differently online, at least, than they were 3 weeks ago. And when you're paying very close attention to the micro, it's exciting. It's exciting to be a part of the energy and excitement and more money getting poured into the projects. And remember, Coinbase isn't that far away. Coinbase NFT marketplace. I mean, I'm excited for that. Excited to see what that leads to and all the new people on board. So we got to get that by the end of the year, right?
I think so. I'm still I'm up in the air about. I think maybe
FUD alert. We got to have a FUD alert.
We should have a
FUD alert.
I do think we should have a FUD alert. That would be great. Lou, I'm tweeting about Constitution DAO, so if you lied to me, I'm gonna be sad about it.
I read a funny tweet. Oh no, this looks pretty legit, but I just read a funny tweet. It says 13 constitutions, only 9 aliens. So that implying that the alien punks are undervalued, since those are or maybe they're saying alien punks should be around 40 million or 50 million. We saw that the punk that got turned down for, what was it, like 2,500 ETH? So
yeah, that
41 million.
That was a little bit of a shtick, sort of, but interesting. I'm not sure where I stand on the Coinbase NFT thing, Danny. I think it's gonna be interesting. Actually, we had a note about Coinbase earlier from Ryan Hodge. This was regarding the conversation about where can people come in and participate, right? Important to remember, average Coinbase deposit around $500 US. People want to mint and buy a floor and grow a portfolio. Yeah. And people love playing the lottery, which is what, you're playing like 2 lotteries in one. You're playing mint to see if I get a rare. And you're also playing the, is this project awesome lottery? It's like a, double hit of
degenerate activity.
Exactly. And I totally get it. And that's part of the reason that NFTs, that's a little bit of why I'm here too. You know what I mean? So I totally get it. Yeah. Understand why people would want that, but
it's the level up. We used to talk about that on Top Shot a lot, where, people might start with a lower bankroll and they want to trade until they get enough that they're comfortable to throw 2 ETH at a bigger purchase, like say a doodle. They throw 1 ETH at a doodle a couple weeks ago because they finally built their portfolio up to 3 ETH. So they're willing to throw 1 at a doodle. And then that's how they ended up in that specific project. And I think that's sort of what he's getting at, is you throwing, the shotgun approach at a bunch of different stuff. And then if 1 hits, then you can start throwing into more different projects. And then you need whatever your hit rate, it turns out,
Yeah. Just don't pool all your money in the Constitution DAO.
Is that what you did? Well, I mean, they won it.
They did win it, but you don't
so
actually
now what?
You don't get anything. All I can do is I can call my mom after the show and tell her that I own. No, I don't actually own, but I help buy the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah,
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah, what's up?
When do you guys think that an NFT project will be publicly traded? An IPO?
I don't think ever.
You don't think ever?
Wouldn't that be like
going backwards?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but it's like the counter of the whole movement, right? The whole spirit of things is decentralized. I don't know.
That's
maybe
fractional. That's more like what fractional is trying to do.
But don't you think
here's the asset?
Don't you think it would bring on new users and new money and capital? And so isn't it inevitable if Bored Ape wants to become a brand or Doodles wants to become a brand long term, that they would want the 50 to 70-year-old demographic and wealth? And so what is a better way to capture that? Through public markets?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I don't think that's bringing new people to the brand. You know what I mean? Because the way that traditional investing in traditional financial markets work is that, yeah, you provide your capital to a central entity and then they go and do something with it on your behalf. And you are aligned, but not the same way, right? You're not necessarily incentivized to participate. I mean, I guess you are. I don't know. I'm sort of walking back my answer there, but
I think it's more like Dapper. Like, would Dapper become a publicly traded company? I think
Dapper
it's more like that.
Dapper
like
will
Bored
be a
Ape.
publicly traded company.
Yeah,
That's
Dapper's more
where I
likely
think
than
it would
Bored
make
Ape, but
sense.
I'm curious
Yeah.
if we'll ever see an NFT project itself become publicly traded. I think that would be wild just to see the evolution. And we might be like 10 years away. But
transition idea or secondary thought off of that. With the crypto.com buying the Staples Center, when are we going to see Bored Ape Arena or something like that?
Imagine more sense. That makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
Than them going publicly traded. Because here's the thing: is like they don't need the hassle of the traditional financial system, right? They don't. They can raise the funds however else they want to. Like if you're big enough to be successful enough as a publicly traded company, you can just drop another freaking project and raise all the money without the headaches. They raised $90 million dropping mutants on a random Saturday night. Like they're not going to go publicly traded. It makes no sense. It makes
also
no sense.
That was a massive bull market in a new space. What if liquidity dries up in the NFT ecosystem? What if things aren't looking great for Bored Ape 2 years from now in a massive downturn? Then they're like, where do we get money? We have a reputable brand. I don't know. It's just something, because it's so far out of left field and so anti what NFTs are trying to do from my perspective. I think it's interesting to think about just those counter perspectives,
Yeah, I don't see it happening. I think it's I think it's just like not necessary, and I think it's like counter to the spirit of Web3. Like I think they would be almost like bastardized as, you know what I mean?
Maybe. I mean, depends on the circumstance, depends on the idea. And
sellouts. I'd be right there with my sign, sellouts.
I love it.
But I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's interesting. But I think there's like the allure of Web3, right? Is like the ability to do all those same things, raise money, align incentives, whatever, all those same things without the intermediaries. You don't need the NASDAQ or NYSE to,
totally
for those things. It's like you build it, you throw it on the Ethereum blockchain, a distributed public ledger, and you let the people participate, whatever. Yeah.
I think my issue is I think that sometimes we get too ideological, particularly in crypto. And I think it's probably similar to how people were ideological about the internet in 2000, being this is an internet company or it's not. And you can look at internet companies and say, they're trying to decentralize the world. They're trying to make the world a better place. And therefore we need to we can't be a non-internet company too. And so, but what actually happened, and this sounds crazy today because we know companies are internet companies and not internet companies, but I was talking to Jim O'Shaughnessy about this on my episode with him, episode 150 of my podcast. And he was like, that was the biggest mistake, thinking of it as either or.
Yeah.
Instead of both.
I think that's fair. I think that's a super fair point. Like a little contrary to that, Danny. So I don't expect publicly traded. I don't expect that, but I do expect some centralized companies will win. Like this is the whole thing about like F off about Meta sucks already. Like I understand the concerns with Facebook and Zuckerberg and all those things, right? But like why? Like why are we just dismissing this already as like it's gonna suck? Like everybody's news was like, oh, the meta, and I'm a metaverse boomer, right? We talked about this on one of the last shows, but like everybody was like, the metaverse will suck. It'll be terrible. The decentralized ones will be better. But at the same time, I've seen these other counterpoints about like NFT games where it's like, oh, well, all the NFT games suck. The real good games will come when real game makers make them, right? It's just like, why does it work one way but not the other way? So I'm with you on it's bullshit that only Web3 native companies will win. That's bullshit. I think that's total bullshit. I'm totally with you there. I don't see the need for a Web3 company to go backwards into like that. You know what I mean? So
today, I agree with you
Oh,
today.
yeah,
We'll see
today,
how,
of course.
We'll see how it
course.
unfolds over the next 10 years.
Just my opinion for folks
Yeah.
in the crowd. So, but that's it. It's an interesting point. And I think the point about, not pigeonholing as like Lucky Trader, for example, maybe we're a Web3 company, right? Like I think we are. I think at least if you allocated or like distributed weights here as to Web3 versus Web2, I think we'd be more Web3 than Web2. But like, do we ever IPO? Who knows? Hopefully. But you know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, Lou, you've been biding your time back there. Are you thinking about something?
No, I don't know. I guess to me, it's sort of the whole point of this in crypto is like being against the man and being like community run stuff. And to me, it's like we're going back to the whole brand and like big banks, that sort of idea. So I don't know. It's tough. I think when it comes down to it, the reason why Meta can be successful is they already have a lot of backing. They already have a lot of money to create something that's cool. Like
from the publicly traded
say,
markets.
Yeah. But that's what people say, right? Is, oh, they're behind. Like there's already other metaverses that exist. There's like the Decentralands and the
$10
sandboxes,
billion.
the Treeverse. Right. It's like, it's sort of, I think we talked about this on one of the pods, Danny, where it's like Facebook wasn't the first version of like a social company where you can interact with friends. Like they beat out MySpace. Maybe the conversation back then was like, oh, MySpace isn't going to lose to anyone. But I think when it comes down to it, like Coinbase coming out with an NFT market could completely crush anything to do with OpenSea. So sometimes it's not just the first to do it.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm getting other breaking news here, Lou. Oh, shoot. I accidentally went to only myself. Whoop. Sorry.
What happened here now?
I'm getting a note
they
that
lied to us.
Constitution DAO has tweeted that we did not win. F.
What does it say here?
It says, community, we did not win the bid for the copy of the U.S. Constitution. While this wasn't the outcome we hoped for, we still made history tonight with Constitution DAO. Largest crowd fund for a physical object we're aware of, crypto or fiat. Incredibly grateful to have done this together. Sotheby's has never worked with a DAO. We broke records for the most money crowdfunded, blah, blah, blah. We had 17,437 donors with a median donation of $206. You'll be able to get a refund of your pro rata amount, effectively minus gas fees through Juicebox. Please expect more details from us about this tomorrow. Our team has not slept in the past week. Everyone of you were a part of this, blah, 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 blah.
Wow.
What the F? What the F?
That doesn't make sense. Like, I thought they had more than 41 million.
They did. I don't understand what happened. Well, there's fees. There's fee, like, right, there's like massive fees on top.
It's like,
I don't know what
like
happened.
A lot fee or something.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what happened. I think this is an unfolding situation.
So they didn't win it.
I'm sad now, man. I thought it was because of my contribution.
I mean, it seems like they switched the story. There's multiple stories out there that said they won. And now, I don't know. I wonder if there's going to be more clarity on it as far as like maybe they didn't have the funds.
We have to run
for that bid.
We have to roll back we gotta roll back the freaking bull market now.
No, I mean, it's still
the bull market's gone.
It's still sold for probably 40 million. My guess is wherever the number was, they didn't have enough funds to cover that fee. So they couldn't actually make the bid that they tried to get. That's my guess.
What if they actually won it and they are messing with people?
That would be really silly.
That'd be the ultimate troll.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. I'm like, sorry, I'm off to the side here trying to confirm or deny because everybody's like, what the hell happened? I swear I contributed. I thought that maybe
maybe they needed, instead of $200 average, they needed $300 average bid.
You know, and it's your fault right here. They probably only needed like a couple $100 more, and you
because we didn't bid.
You assholes didn't contribute, and so now
it seems like
now
they need
we
a
don't.
few
Now
$million more.
we Web3 we don't have the Constitution now. Who the hell won?
We can at least print it out.
I hate this. Can we talk about this? Actually,
let's print it out and save it. Right click save.
We can do that.
The other guy was David. People are saying it was Brooke versus David on the screen.
David versus Goliath, and we lost. Wait, can we talk about this real quick? This stupid thing, like this is just frustrating to me now, and I know I'm in my Web3 bubble, of course, right? And I'm a little actually angered about not winning the U.S. Constitution, because this would have been a great story. Like if I ever have a grandchild, I could tell him, Yeah. Anyway, what's stupid about this is like we're not ever gonna know who actually won, right? It's gonna be shrouded behind like a group of investors from, like Lou was talking about this earlier, right? That sucks, man. The cool thing about Web3 is like we can figure it all out, and we might not know. Like they may be pseudonymous, they may be anonymous, but we can figure it out. We can point to exactly like where the hell those funds came from, and that's cool.
What if
that's cool?
A different
Me too, John.
From
I am sad, man.
What if it's a different group of investors who are part of Web3?
I mean, it may be a competing secret like
DAO.
anti-constitution DAO. That would be hilarious, actually. I would be less mad about it if that happened.
Well, I still have my piece of my declaration. So
did you buy on Rally?
I have, yeah, it's like right here.
Have you bought any? Okay, this is a good segue. Have you bought any of the NFT stuff on Rally?
No, they have like a punk, right?
Yeah, there's a punk, there's a Bored Ape, and then I think they were doing another Bored Ape. I'm gonna try to bring it up.
And this is going to sound. I don't know if this is gonna come off weird.
Are you gonna talk about how ridiculous it is to buy $10 worth of a Bored Ape?
That's what I was gonna say.
Fun alert.
Sounds weird, but
Fun alert.
I mean, it to me, it's like, yeah, why are like at that point, why are you? But
yeah,
I have gotten, there was like a physical patch from like there's one that's a Steph Curry and there's a Kobe Bryant thing that I have. One of them is, I forget, I always switch them back and forth, but one of them is like a patch from their jersey, and another one is a piece of the court from like one of their games.
Yeah. I own that one. No.
So like to me, like those were cooler things versus like if I wanted a piece of a punk, I'd go on to fractional. Just like makes more sense.
It does. It makes a whole lot more sense. So actually, I participated in both of these just because I already had a Rally account and it's like whatever, you know what I mean.
Your funds are already stuck in there.
Yeah, I have $900 in here. I don't know it just sits here. Look at some of these things I'm down pretty big on.
Oh so you have the skull. This is what I was talking to Danny about. Yeah, so this skull, Danny, is what like Twitter was going crazy for like a week over these skulls.
It's Bales and Peter's fault, isn't it?
They bought a bunch of the skull.
But
you got like didn't people get like a skull or something or a piece of it?
I don't know.
Wasn't there a physical part to that one too?
I'm not sure. There was a physical component to the punk thing. Like I bought the hat that I've been wearing. I don't know if you guys have seen it on the stream or not. Like I got after I bought my shares of the punk, I actually spent, because you can only get 2 shares. So I spent $20 on shares of this punk. And then I spent $25 on the hat.
See, Chris agrees with me. It's like buying $10 of Bitcoin.
Hey, you know what? Some people can only afford $10 of Bitcoin.
I know.
You buy $10 of Bitcoin in 2003. It's a pretty good investment.
Then, yeah. But that's what I mean is like, how you're probably paying $3 in fees on that one thing.
I know.
That's really where I'm coming off of it.
I know, Lou.
You're just like the fees, and then what are you going to pay taxes on it because you're signing up for Rally Road, and then that whole thing. That's why I didn't do it. But
Lou said the T word near the end of the stream. Lou said the T word.
We talked about the T word earlier in the stream.
I know. It's interesting. Like I think the thing we should say about that, it is ridiculous to buy $10 worth of a punk. Yeah, you're right. Given the fees and stuff, it's totally ridiculous. But the thing that is interesting about it is we should be supportive of them getting NFTs in the hands of more people. Like, hopefully there's some Rally Road users that didn't know anything about NFTs before and like bought a share of a punk and, you know, whatever, and then kept looking in. Like, getting into more people's hands is a good thing for us. You know, whether it's a short-term bump or not, like ultimately that is good. So I applaud Rally Road for doing so. Otis, and actually I posted this in an internal communication earlier this week. So a competitor to Rally Road is with Otis, I think it's called. They announced earlier this week, either their CEO or CMO, CPO, whatever the words are, they announced earlier this week that they're doing like an NFT platform or something like that. So some of the okay, hold on, I'm bringing it up on the stream on the side here.
I guess on another side of that point, like I like how DraftKings has done that. FanDuel, I think maybe did too, where like the top prize was a punk.
Yep.
Kind of like that they're doing things like that. Otis House.
Yeah. So it's kind of similar. I think Otis House is a marketplace auction. Shit, I stopped sharing the screen. Otis Place is a marketplace auction platform and vault for physical items built on top of Ethereum. The physical items are stored, vaulted, and insured by Otis, and we mint NFTs that represent ownership. Okay, so not NFTs, sort of NFTs, but like, Lou, you get the U.S. Constitution, the physical copy, you put it in a vault insured by Otis, they give you a representative NFT. Like, that's pretty cool, right? I mean, it's not necessarily super unique, but like that's kind of cool, especially that part there that says insured by Otis.
Yeah, I think.
So I can send my FIWO shoes to Otis. They'll send me back an NFT for the NFT that I sold like an idiot, and they'll insure my shoes. Well, no, I don't think you can like personally do this, but like
they create a new version of that NFT.
They like mint an NFT that represents ownership. That's it. It's like having a POAP, basically.
Seems backwards to me. It seems kind of like the right click savey kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which I just had a tweet about actually, but
I think the more we can merge the physical and the digital together, the better, because I think a lot of people get it once they experience something in the physical world that ties into an NFT. The example being the Bright Moments gallery being something that really made sense to a lot of people. Another example is VCon. When I explain, why would someone buy this? Well, I say it's a conference ticket. People go, oh, that makes sense. So
yeah, but did you tell them that the conference ticket was like $30,000? Oh, not when you first purchased it, right? But
no, it was $4,000 for 3 conferences. That makes sense.
Yeah.
What are you looking up there, Logie?
I'm getting messages about this Constitution DAO thing. Nothing
freaking out about it because they don't know. They're like, we thought they bought it. There was multiple sources that said that they were the ones that got it. That's why I think they didn't have the funds for it. It's just so funny.
This is just fake news.
Yeah, fake news. It's back. I guess in your scenario, it doesn't make sense to me where it's like you sold the NFT and you're getting it back. So it's like, in a sense, you don't deserve to get an NFT for something when you actually sold the NFT of it, if that makes sense. But I mean, the way I see it, what about like photo albums, like replacing photo albums by you're minting them, like your wedding photos or something?
That would be sick.
I think more like that type of thing makes sense to me.
It's on the blockchain forever.
Yeah.
You could buy it. And so that's actually a really good idea.
That's why I did the Colorado collection, because I was like, instead of posting pictures to Facebook or something like that, like I could see people posting their photo albums online to store on the blockchain.
Wow. I mean, imagine an Instagram where you could just buy a photo in the app.
Yeah. Kind of like when you've brought up wanting to like mint your podcast. I think it's a similar idea. It's like minting memories, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know.
Minting memories. That's a good idea for mint and print.
Oh my gosh, minting memories.
Mint and print doing like some sort of photo-y type thing.
Do you have mintandprint.eth?
No.
I thought you got it.
No, mintandprint.xyz, folks.
Oh.
No, but
Where's
.eth.
that?
Have you
No, I
checked
don't
that?
have it.
The .eth.
Well, we'll look and see. I mean,
I think we're
Someone's
talking
gonna
about it
snag it.
right now, though. Like,
I know
this Otis thing, that's what they do. They mint, and then you can print out a copy of it. Mint and print.
Are we about to do this live?
Oh, shit, what is going on here?
Or are you seeing if it's up there?
Available.
Wow.
If anybody free to take, I'm not going to do it now because I don't know what the share circumstances are, and I got to pull out my one password to get my password to my wallet. So I'm not going to do that right now. If anybody on this damn stream,
soon.
I know if anybody on this damn stream takes this thing, you're done.
You could buy that right now and sell it back to Logie probably for solid 5-10 ETH.
5-10 ETH. Yeah, okay. No. If you buy this thing right now, I'm not going to buy it from you. So, sorry, I'm just not going to. I have a TM. You guys are toast. Like, I'll take you to court. There's some tweets about what's the whole VV. We've got like 15 minutes left. I know we're off the. If people have questions, please drop them in. What's the whole VVD Vincent Van Gogh thing with like the suing of the like? Have you seen this, Lou? You know what I'm talking about? The thing that he built that like NFT of all the other like weird NFTs and then sold it.
Yeah. VVD.
Vincent Van Gogh.
What was it? And he was like, "Sue me," right?
And then people like were actually threatening to legal action. This is ridiculous, but kind of funny. Yeah. Anyway, we've got like 13 minutes left. Sorry, that was a terrible segue. I thought maybe folks would pick up on that one.
I saw it, but I don't remember.
Okay.
Much about it.
Yeah, we've got 13 minutes left. If folks have like questions, issues, concerns about NFTs, I do want to do a couple plugs too while like you guys think about, you two, Lou, Danny, think about like things that you want to sign off with. I want to do a couple plugs because we're adding some things in at Lucky Trader over the course of the last week and like moving forward that I think are going to be really important for folks to stay in tune with. And the other thing I should say is like if you have feedback about the types of content that we're getting, what these streams are about, whatever, please share them as well. But in the last few days, we have been starting to post. So I've been doing a daily news for quite some time now. But we've actually started to also add daily recaps to the site as well and on our social media pages as well. So if you are someone that unfortunately cannot, stay tuned in the morning or, you don't have the time to catch one of our streams during the day, you don't have time to scroll through Twitter and you just want a real quick recap, you can scroll through, it's just a really, really simple kind of look at what's happened during the day, some of the most notable news and notes available on the site at luckytrader.com. And of course, available via our social media feeds. So something new, feedback welcomed. We're adding it in. That's a huge addition, in my opinion, to be able to share kind of that end of day, what has happened, more timely analysis. The other part is we are working on tons and tons of evergreen stuff as well to help new people who are more advanced, get better at collecting, learn how to collect, and move forward. Right? Lou just dropped this piece on the site a couple days ago. About how to save money when selling NFTs on OpenSea. There are some tips and tricks in here, folks, that like I didn't even realize as what you may call an experienced collector that I didn't even realize you could really take advantage of until we sat down and, kind of built this piece. So some really, really cool things in here about, ways that if you didn't know, how you can sort of know when gas is cheapest, ways that you can limit gas fees by like kind of going around delisting and transferring your NFT. Like that is how long have you been doing that, Lou? That like I didn't even know about that hack think about that hack until we started talking about this article.
Yeah, that one seems to be the one that people keep coming back to me. And the way that I would word it is it was a trial and error, kind of an accident. So I had an item, and I found this out before they created like the timers, but I had an item that this was like early on when I had it. didn't know much about listing and lowering the price and how you had to like cancel all of the transactions at once. So I had an item that I was just like lowering by 0.01, and I did it like 4 or 5 times. And I was like, well, I don't want to pay 5 gas fees on this. And then I have my like backup wallet, and I was like, it just get it out of my site. And I like sent it to my other wallet. And then I checked and I was like, I only paid 1 fee, and now it's not listed at all. So once I noticed that it wasn't listed at all, I was like, oh, I guess I could just do this if I'm ever in that scenario again.
Yeah.
So it's kind of an accident.
Right. And one of the things that's like a common misconception about gas fees, or just maybe something that's not known, is like gas fees are, one, contingent upon the congestion on the network, but two, also the intensivity of the action or the code that needs to be executed, right? And transferring something is not a super arduous like code execution, but running like a smart contract to mint something, right, or to delist, for example, those things are just a little bit more, they need more energy, they need more resource, and so it costs more to do so. So huge gas saving right there. Like as you add that up, right, Lou? I mean, we talked about it in the piece, but like it may seem silly from time to time when you're saving, whatever, 0.005, but when you save 0.005 100 times, right, or whatever the case may be, like it's a ton of potential ETH that you're recouping to buy more NFTs. So especially if you're someone with a low bankroll, consider these action items so that you can mint and print. .eth, yes. So something that we've added to the site, more evergreen stuff will continue to flow out. Like this is the type of stuff that we want to keep pushing to people. I think it's one of our potential advantages in the space is that we have the tools for you, and we're going to have the resources in terms of content as well for you to be able to learn and to get better at doing things. So we have a lot of stuff coming. Lou's working on a Solana piece to do some introduction to that. A lot of folks talk about gas fees. It doesn't really exist on Solana. You know what I mean? So that's a potential benefit. And you might want to learn a little bit about what takes place there and how you can participate. So we have things like that coming. We've got some DeFi content coming for folks who are interested about decentralized finance and how they could potentially participate and what it is and the risks involved, right? And then a whole host of other analysis about, do mid-tier NFTs matter? All these different things that we can do with data and resources available at the site. So please stay tuned. Head to luckytrader.com. Follow us. Show up on these shows. We're going to talk about these types of things. We do have a question, though, from Chris. Are you guys moving into PDE NFTs like the rest of the market? Thoughts on the movement? I won't give away too much here just yet, Chris. I think our intention, of course, is to stay very, very closely aligned with Play to Earn, as it is a huge potential growth area for the market. We've talked about things like, Know Your Horses and Zed Run. We've talked about Chicken Derby, knowyourchicks.com now from the Know Your Horses team will let you do similar things. And we've talked about Red Village in the last few days here, right? Minted another Play to Earn game that people are excited about. And there's just so many. So you're definitely right. There are a ton of Play to Earn games. But in Chris's next comment here about a lot of projects with ambitious promises of a Play to Earn game, but not many have pulled it off. That is the difficulty here of like, we need to be able to prioritize our tools and resources to appropriately reflect the execution of a project as well. And so we're not going to spend time building a tool for a game that maybe never gets made or never gets used. So it's certainly a balance, of course, that I think we're looking to implement. But yes, we will be tightly aligned to the best of our ability with Play to Earn. Hopefully much more content coming around those types of things as well. I mean, if that's stuff that you guys are interested in, as I mentioned, particular games, particular themes, I did the MMORPG thing the other day, but like whatever, right? I know it's so bad, but whatever, particular themes, right? Any of those things, please just let us know and help us kind of curate for you. We're trying to build content for you. So appreciate that. But 5 minutes left. I'll give you each a couple if you want time to sign off with. Lou, anything before we get going here?
Yeah, I agree with you on the PTE stuff. It seemed like at one point in time, it was just on every roadmap, we're going to have a game. And I tweeted out a few months ago at one point, I was like, how many games do you guys expect to be playing in this metaverse? First of all, because it's like, oh, there's a game. It's like, okay, but the last thing you bought had a game too, or you're going to play both games. So I'm interested to see like the game that catches my eye that I want to actually play. This Red Village that came out this week seems kind of cool. And what I like about that versus some of these other like the PFP projects that say they'll have a game is this one is a game. Like that's their whole thing. It's not like these other projects that have it on their roadmap. This is like the project was made to be a game. So those are the ones I'm looking for, I think.
Yeah, that's a really great point. I had made the note earlier this week that it's one of the games that looks like games we have come to know as well, right? Like even just in look and feel, like if you look at the trailer at Red Village, it looks like a game. And I mean, you're totally right. That's not something that we've spent too much time thinking about, but everything, because the buzzword P2E means number go up, right? Or like excitement, everybody includes it. So it's on every roadmap ever. But you're totally right, Lou. The people that are building games and only games and their central focus is on games is like, that's an alpha alert. If we had the little button, that would have been an alpha alert. Danny, thoughts to sign off here?
Yeah, on the play to earn dynamic, I'm really getting into Zed Run. I'm enjoying that tremendously.
Yeah.
Been racing a bunch of horses, and one piece of content that I want to create with Ryan is him helping me build my stable. I only have like a few horses right now, but I've raced a bunch. It's so much fun, and I'm loving it. So yeah, I didn't really consider myself interested in the games aspect of it, but once I started doing that, I've really enjoyed it. I've probably lost money on it, but I'm still liking it.
It's great. Zed's fun. It is fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Thoughts to close out. Thank you guys for putting up with my struggles in the first 30 minutes, listeners and Logie and Lou. I appreciate you guys, and I'm looking forward to doing this tomorrow morning, bright and early, 11 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah. Thank you for adding that note. I might have forgotten to add that. So as we sign off here, of course, media schedule at Lucky Trader. We do a 11 a.m. stream on Monday and Friday. Monday, sort of looking ahead to the week. Friday, sort of recapping the week and potentially looking ahead to things, especially for this last week, right? Like everything you guys talked about on Monday got pushed to next week, with the exception of Mary Mods, right? Tom Billy was on, which is like minting right now, right?
It's currently minting, yeah. Before I hopped on, it was around like 6,400 or so.
Yeah.
Out of 10K. So moving on pretty well.
Yeah. So anyway, if you were here and tomorrow is like a boring Friday for you at work, or you don't work because it's Friday, whatever the case may be, 11 a.m. Eastern, the three of us, and Alex will be joining again tomorrow. Alex, one of the contributors at Lucky Trader, to be talking about the week behind, and then looking ahead maybe a little bit. Hopefully we'll have some resolution on the Constitution DAO. You know what I'm really pissed about is I think if they would have won this thing, that Lin-Manuel may have actually written a song about it.
Wow. Is he in the space?
I don't think so, but it's like it would have made too much sense, right?
Did he contribute to it?
I don't think so. But if he did one, he has to write a song. If you're out there,
Logan just wants a Lin song.
I feel like that's similar saying like if they won, Jay-Z has to write a song about it.
No, it's
Nick Cage has to make a movie about this.
Nick Cage did. Okay, two things need to happen. If this retroactively, if we find out tomorrow that the Constitution DAO did in fact win and they're just messing with us, Nick Cage needs to make a movie about it. And Lin-Manuel needs to write a song about it. And then Lin-Manuel's song needs to be featured in Nick Cage's movie. So
that's an alpha alert.
Alpha alert. Yeah. Anyway, we'll be back 11 a.m. Eastern tomorrow to chat about the week behind. Hopefully have a resolution on Constitution DAO. Thank you everyone for being here tonight and for listening to us ramble on about a whole host of random stuff. I'm going to try to do our exit video appropriately, and we'll catch you guys all tomorrow.